Okay, so I just finished Revelation chapter 3, and it essentially follows on with what we read in Revelation chapter 2, where the revealed Jesus to the disciple John is essentially got some words for three churches, the remaining three churches. So he has a message for Sardis, he has a message for Philadelphia, and he has a message for Laodicea. And in the same way, each of them are dealing with different issues, and each of them are prescribed different theological and spiritual treatments. So, for example, the church of Sardis was once a wealthy capital, but now is near spiritual death. For example, Jesus in his revelation says, "You have a name of being alive, but you are dead. Wake up and strengthen what remains and is on the point of death, for I have not found your works perfect in the sight of my God." It's interesting because he says, you have a name of being alive, so you are doing your works in namesake alone. I feel like the most practical application of this is to ask yourself, in what area of your life is your faith alive only in name only, right? For example, I can say a personal example. I was reading the Bible every single day for one chapter a day for like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. But I only did it in namesake. I would just read it. I wouldn't try and understand it. It was just going through the motions so that I would seem as though I'm a good Christian, because a good Christian reads their Bible. But what would Jesus say to me? What would Jesus say to you? Wake up and strengthen what remains and is on the point of death, for I have not found your works perfect in the sight of my God. So your faith needs to be alive rather than dead. However, Jesus does say that we need to remember what we received and heard and obey it and repent it. And he gives a warning which is very similar to what is present in the Gospel of Matthew, I believe. He says, "If you do not wake up, I will come like a thief." So we do not know the hour he will come, and you will not know what hour I will come to you. So that's the message to Sardis. In what way is my faith alive in name only? Next, he has a message to Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is actually a small church, small faithful church, but is facing severe external opposition, right? And how does Jesus begin his message to Philadelphia? He says, "These are the words of the Holy One, the true One, who has the key of David, who opens and no one will shut." So Jesus has the keys of David, who opens and no one will shut, and who shuts and no one will open. So he says, "I know that you have but little power," he says this to the church of Philadelphia, "and yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews but are not, but are lying, I will make them come and bow before your feet, and they will learn that I have loved you. Because you have kept my word of patient endurance, I will keep you from the hour of trial that is coming on the whole world to test the inhabitants of the earth. I am coming soon. Hold fast to what you have, so that no one may seize your crown." So, remember that Jesus Christ holds the keys of David. He opens doors that no one is able to shut. So if you're dealing with a struggle, if you're dealing with a place in your life, a place in your walk where you're feeling an immense weight or struggle, and you feel like the world is coming down upon you. Imagine this is a small community in Philadelphia. Remember that Christianity is not the same as it is today. Christianity was not the greatest, not the biggest religion in the entire world, right? They were just a small persecuted sect of Judaism. And if anyone would not listen to the fact that Jesus is saying, "I am with you. I will not let you be overcome by your oppressors, both the Jewish communities and the Roman authorities." He says, "They will learn that I have loved you." and I have the key of David that opens and no one will shut. So any place where you have struggle in your life, remember that the one who has the key of David can open the door to any struggle, can open the door that no one will be able to shut. Jesus Christ has a promise, and that his key is still available and can open a way through. Last church is Laodicea, I think. And Laodicea, this is the most famous example probably. You've probably already heard of this, but Laodicea was an affluent, self-sufficient, but lukewarm spiritual city. It's interesting because Jesus begins in verse 15, I know your works. You are neither cold nor hot. I wish that you were either cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. Wow. I am rich. You say, I am rich. I have prospered and I need nothing. You do not realize that you are wretched, pitiable, poor, blind, and naked. The words he uses are striking. Now, I must mention that there are other interpretations that you can gather from this. So, for example, in Laodicea, right, there have been interpretations where cold does not mean completely spiritually dead, right? So, obviously, hot for faith, cold for faith means no faith, and then lukewarm is sort of in between. So you have some sort of faith, but not a hot faith. However, this does not mean that if you have a little, it's worse to have a little faith than no faith, right? What this is probably meaning is that a city could have a really significant and important cold source or a really significant and important hot source of water. Okay, so both of those represent an important life-sustaining water source. So to be cold may not necessarily mean spiritually dead, but rather spiritually alive in a different sense. And hot can also mean spiritually alive. The only one that is not spiritually alive is lukewarm. However, I don't know if this is the accurate interpretation of this passage, because it says, so because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. So usually maybe the spitting out of the mouth, that is implying that they are spiritually dead and not just a little bit spiritual. But lukewarm does seem to suggest that there's a little bit of one or the other rather than none at all. But I don't know. It's an interesting point. But the more interesting claim here is that when he says that you are lukewarm, he literally quotes what they say. He says, I am rich and I have prospered and I need nothing. That's what someone who is lukewarm says. I am rich, I have prospered, I need nothing. So, what lukewarm comfort do you indulge in, which allows you or permits you to say these things, that I am rich, I am prospered, and I need nothing? And then Jesus humbles the people of Laodicea, saying, you are wretched. You do not realize that you are wretched, pitiable, poor, blind, and naked. And he says in verse 19, this is beautiful, I reprove and discipline those whom I love. So if you feel the reproof of Christ, if you feel that you're being disciplined and hardened and you feel like you're going through significant struggles, remember that Jesus Christ reproves and disciplines those whom he loves. Final verse that I want you to, and I want to remember one verse each time. So I'm going to memorize this one, which is Revelation chapter 3, verse 20. This is what he says to the people of Laodicea. Listen, I am standing at the door knocking. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come into you and eat with you and you with me. So Jesus is standing at the door knocking. If you hear his voice, he will come into you and eat with you and you with me. This is what he says. He had some really strong words before. You do not realize that you are wretched. You do not realize that you are pitiable, poor, blind, and naked. Imagine Jesus saying all of these things to you. And what he's saying is tough love. But then afterwards, he reiterates his love and mercy. Listen, I am standing at the door, knocking. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come into you and eat with you and you with me. This is what it means to love others. To recognize that being lukewarm is spiritual death. To condemn the saying, I am rich, I have prospered, and I need nothing. We need to always remember that we are wretched, pitiable, poor, blind, and naked. So we shouldn't get on our high horse. And it's important to identify where in our spiritual walk we have said these things. Said that we are self-sufficient, that we need nothing, we are rich, when in reality we are beyond repair. But Jesus Christ is standing at the door knocking, and if you hear his voice, he'll open the door. Beautiful. All right, that's it for Revelation chapter 3. I'll see you tomorrow.